Boy was like, listen, I got enough speed. I'm gonna get
Yo,
the fuck up out of here.
wait, wait. That was frame for frame from the webtoon as well.
Yeah.
Yo, what's happening, everybody? It's your boy Erskmac, the mad scientist.
And Vievo.
This is the Orange Phoenix Show anime breakdown edition, and for 2024, we were going to look into watching some different types of anime and breaking them down episode by episode, like until the end of the season. And so the two anime that we picked out is Solo Leveling and Ishura, that is on Hulu. But this episode here is covering episode 1 and 2 of Solo Leveling. I'm gonna let you know right now, I have not read the webtoon. So I am a new person jumping into Solo Leveling, and I was floored. Vievo got a little bit of a different experience. So Vievo, what was your experience with Solo Leveling?
So I had known about Solo Leveling for I just never got around to reading it, and so I finally started reading it before the anime came out. I'm not that far along in the manga yet, or webtoon, but from what I can say, like, seeing it animate, like in anime form, I'm really excited. Animation is top notch. I like how they're adding a little bit more context into the story. With the webtoon, you didn't get like that intro, and also kind of seeing like the things that are going on in the background, like the motivations for why the hunters are so important in the course of the story. It's gonna be a great anime. Like, the first 2 episodes were absolutely amazing,
man. Like, listen, like a mofo got split in half the first episode,
and they literally, these first 2 episodes, I promise you, it was like frame for frame from the webtoon.
That's rare.
In addition to the additional on top of the little context they were sprinkling in. But as far as animation wise, they were hitting the audience with that old razzle dazzle with all the action.
I think, like, when I saw this from start to finish, I'm like, okay, shit kind of went left. But the pacing, I'm gonna have to compliment the pacing of this, because there was a mixture of action, but at the same time they were explaining why this all is taking place, like what is what caused all this to happen. So, like, starting back from the beginning, like when I first started the episode, the military were like attacking magical beasts, and it was explained that conventional weapons are not of use against these magical beasts. These portals have been open all over the world, and so basically, if you really kind of look at it, the game is integrating itself into the real world. So,
like a reverse isekai or something, almost.
Yeah, like reverse isekai in a way. So, but with the magical beast showing up, several humans are imbued with magical abilities. So if you have some hidden magical talent, you automatically gonna get ranked from S rank, which is like the top tier, to the E rank, which is low tier. Which, I can't say ironically the main character is low tier, because that's kind of like a trope. So with Sung Jin Woo being the lowest of the low, I was like, okay, obviously he's the main character. Now, keep in mind, yes, I have heard of Solo Leveling before, and I've heard nothing but great things about Solo Leveling.
Same.
So when this was announced back in 2023, and we had to wait like 7-8 months or so before this thing dropped, and I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna read the webtoon. I want to wait till this anime comes out, and then I'm gonna go back and read the webtoon. But from what you're saying, is that it following it frame by frame, which is rare for an anime, because
depending upon, what happens because, with the animation studios, stuff can happen and they, it might get rushed in the so far with the first 2 episodes, they have been very faithful to the source material. That much I can say.
Yeah.
I believe the actual webtoon is, let me see. So it's about 179 episodes. Like episode 179 is the finale, but then there's an epilogue that goes 1 through 21.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if you're interested in reading the webtoon, you could definitely knock it out in like a week. To be prepared for the rest of the anime to come. But I'm probably gonna finish the webtoon before the series finishes because it's that engaging. Like I only meant to read maybe the first 5 chapters before we did our this episode, but then I kept reading. I just kept reading. I couldn't put it down. So I'm really excited to see what happens. Especially like episode 2 leaving off on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And the fact that even in the manga or the webtoon, I'm sorry, it hasn't been really explained what what he saw at the end, or what was put up at the end of the episode, the anime episode, and I'm really interested to see what that entails.
Yeah, and I mean, we definitely gonna cover that episode 2 because episode 2 ended in a definite cliffhanger. Now, episode 1, you see this hunter's party that is like hunting down magical beasts and is pretty much giant ants. That's basically what it is. And it was taking out the ants, and then you got your healers, you got your brawlers, but it didn't really show the classes per se. Like as far as like, are you a swordsman, are you a brawler? But the S rank did show up, and that's when the white ants actually showed up, and they were like, "Oh man, the S rank class is here, and we're gonna take these guys out." Which obviously that animation was really, really, really good. And then it switches over to the cityscape where you see Guildmaster Choi, if I'm not mistaken. Choi, and he's a fire user. But he has an army of hunters, like in this gigantic battle. So Choi interests me too because in episode 1, you see him in I forgot the name of the corporation. I think it's the Hunters Association, I think. And I thought he was the head of the association, but it's the older gentleman. Now the thing about it to me is that this corporation is very much different than any other anime corporation that I've been introduced to, because any other anime corporation has some kind of nefarious means behind it. Like it's always evil, like to a certain point. But this person, the head of the Hunters Association, he wants to use monocrystals and the magical items that drops from killing the for clean energy. And I was like, oh, all right, well, damn. Okay. And so then you use raids, which we are very familiar with that term. So they go in these portals, and each dungeon that they clear, they get money. They get like some type of magical item. So now
the essence stones.
Yeah, essence stones. Are the essence stones more valuable than the monocrystals, right?
So it was my understanding that both of them can be used in order to create higher tier gear.
Yeah.
And equipment that can then be used to go back into the raids. But I think that, both of them, I wouldn't necessarily call them currency, but they translate into real money for the hunters that collect them, because they trade them in to get paid, basically.
Yeah. And I did notice like Sung Jin Ho has somewhat of a love interest in Juhee,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like a B class healer. So what's funny about it is that he's not really at least I didn't see it in the first episode where people was teasing Sung about being an E class person. You know, they was talking about him like, yeah, he always get hurt, obviously, because you're the lowest rank. But he's so I wouldn't say nonchalant about it, but he's so happy-go-lucky about the shit. He's like, yeah, I'm an E class. I get hurt. I get chased. I get injured. But, you know.
I don't know if I would. I don't know that I would call him happy-go-lucky about it. I feel like it was more that he is was reserved to his status. Like, because if you remember in the beginning, they said that when hunters are initially ranked, there's really no opportunity for them to achieve greater strength. Like if you're E rank, you're E rank.
Yeah.
If you're a B rank, you're a B rank, and that's it. You can get better gear, yeah, but your rank doesn't necessarily change. Which is why, well, we'll wait we can wait for other episodes. I'm a little further ahead in the webtoon, so but yeah, I don't think that. Well, I feel it's kind of just like he's accepted it. He's like, yeah, I'm E rank, but that's, you know, I have to roll with what I have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, okay, when it was said that if you get like a C rank, D rank, is it saying that you can't get stronger, or you just can't get past that rank? See, I interpret it as though if this is your level, you're gonna stay at this level, and there's no getting past that level of strength. That's how I interpret it, just judging from the first episode.
I interpreted it that once you're ranked at that level, because the ranks are based on their strength.
Okay.
And so they don't have an opportunity to they don't have the opportunity to increase that strength. Like they are awakened. When they awaken as hunters, they awaken with, you know, certain magical capabilities.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that's it. Like they don't. There's not an opportunity for them to go beyond that.
Dang, that sucks, man. So that put Sung in a pickle, because he didn't mention his father. Like he said, his father's missing, and you know his mom is in a coma, and his sister's in school, so he has to do these things just to make ends meet. Like he has to go out there on these raids and get, no matter how little, you know, the loot is, he has to use it for those means. Now, right out the gate, like soon he's going to do this raid, he gets hurt. Like he takes out a goblin, but another goblin shows up, and then his weapon shatters. This mofo out here running out his shoes, like his shoes is like torn to shreds. Like it's crazy. I'm like, okay, they gotta be something. I'm initially watching that first episode for the first time, because the second time I watched it, I really analyzed it. But judging from the first episode, I was like, okay, this might be like a typical shonen. Maybe he had this crazy power up or some kind of hidden talent at the end of the first episode, and it never showed up. It just hit you with a what the fuck moment, because once they got past the D rank monsters, right, they see this gigantic door, and
that should have been.
Yeah, so everybody voted. You know what I'm saying? Everybody voted.
I know, but it was like, yo, are y'all looking at how this door looks? Like, it's extra ornate. This isn't just some regular double dungeon. Like, what are y'all doing?
They literally said like, oh man,
we've never seen a door like this.
Exactly. If you never seen a door like that, It's like you never seen a door like that before. You have gone on numerous raids together. Never seen a gigantic doorway, double doors. And when you handle a situation like they handle with the D-rank monsters, typically, and they fight a boss, which they thought they fought a boss already, the dungeon is clear. Now, I know it was explained in episode 2, but they did a vote. Sung was the deciding vote. He was the deciding vote. He was like, "Yeah, we'll go. Let's do this." Now his girl was like, "You stupid because I healed you to my utmost limit, and now you want to take your happy ass in this double door? You don't know what's behind this door."
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you something.
We don't care.
She was so mad.
Super
as she should have been.
I was like, and she's not gonna leave him. She's just gonna be mad. So when they walk in, I know they see the 3 rules, because the head of the raid leader was reading it. I think the first rule was
revere God.
Revere God. The second, praise God, and test your faith was the third.
Yep, prove your faith to God.
So the first person that noticed was Juhei. So when she saw, she like, those eyes saw me. Like the statue, they looked at me, and he was like, "Are you sure?" She was like, "Yeah," like I'm sure. And then after they read after the raid leader read the rule, the door shuts, and I was like, "Okay, all right, it's about to hit the fan right now." Again, me watching for the first time, I'm thinking like this gigantic beast is gonna show up and just wreck the place. No beast, just the statues. I don't know what it is about a group setting, and one person gets so pissed off they just walk away from the group. It's always one.
A dark enclosed space.
Yeah. It's always one, Vievo. He walks off. Told you not to do this.
Going off the entire time. Yeah. Going off the entire time, walking off, just yelling.
And then you get split down the middle. Well, not technically. You got split. At least half of the top half of your body was gone the minute you touched that. The minute you touched that door.
Yo, and that statue was like, and then he just back into position, and I was like, I would feel some type of way.
Like, a statue that fast? Like, he just literally got up, swiped, sat back down.
Like, literally, the statue was like, "Yup, that's what I thought." Like,
everybody's panicking, and so
and then Sung looks back over at the god, and then the god's eyes is like,
"Hey yo, what the fuck?"
Look dead in his face. You're like, "Wow." I see.
And at that moment, his soul left his body.
I don't know what I would have done in that situation. I wouldn't go through those double doors. I'm like, listen, y'all on your own. Clearly, all these monsters that we killed out here, they're not coming back. I'm gonna go back through this portal. Y'all have fun with that. I'm out. So,
well, I think partly when they were, the entire reason that they wanted to even go through the door or explore further was because it wasn't necessarily because, oh, we have to take care of this, because if we don't, these monsters are going to get out. Their primary motivation is because they wanted to be, one, they didn't get a bunch of loot from the monsters they did kill, and then two, they didn't want the other new guys to come in and then swoop in and take all the perceived treasure that was further in.
Right.
So basically, it was greed.
Yeah,
to a certain
that's basically
extent.
What it was. Like,
and I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that greed was the determining factor for Sung specifically. For him, I feel like it was more like his family circumstance. Like it wasn't about him. He's not the greedy type. He was just trying to do, but everybody else was like, well, I want to get there before everybody else does. When he was like, I have to pay for my mom to survive. So
yeah, he had an honorable. he had to make a hard decision, but it was like a honorable type decision because of, you know, what you say is like he got a family situation. Like he's the man of the house. He has to take care of this by any means necessary. So that first death set the tone to me because, you know, I've seen some very gruesome shit, like as far as like anime is concerned. So this wasn't like completely over the top or whatever, because I've seen things. I mean, we both have watched Berserk. We have seen things. So but seeing that set the tone for the rest of the group, right?
Yeah. Oh, what a day.
Right? It was like, what are we supposed to do? Obviously, there's screams everywhere. You know, Junhei passes out. I wouldn't say pass out, but she's like in shock right now. Like, yeah, she's no more. She's screaming and
in a fetal position on the floor, holding her head
and all that stuff. So I was like, okay. And then shortly after that, the episode ends, and I was like, whoa, wait, hold up. This is it. This is the first episode for me. Like, whoa, time out. And then I think the one thing I really do appreciate about Solo Leveling is that it don't really give you a preview of the next episode. Like, it leaves you in suspense. And I feel like that's very smart of them to do that, because now
it keeps everybody like engaged, like in rapture. Like, I have to tune in to see what happens.
Exactly. They did it real Dragon Ball Z-ish, but without the next time of Dragon Ball Z part. And hey guys, I know you are enjoying our show, but just a quick second, I want you guys to subscribe to our Patreon and continue to support us, because the more support we have, the more cool things we can do. Now, we have two different tiers. We have a $5 tier and a $15 tier. The $5 tier guarantees you a bi-monthly edition of Orange Phoenix Magazine, where we cover all things of geekdom, whether it's anime, manga, pro wrestling, comics, cosplay, you name it, we nerd it. That is our slogan. Now, you might be asking yourself, what about the other months? Well, monthly, you get entered into a giveaway drawing. So if your name gets pulled in the drawing, you get some of the cool stuff that we buy from these conventions from the past, the present, and in the future. We talking figurines, we talking Blu-ray DVD sets that's typically not aired on any streaming service. We talking various forms of artwork, because we know when you go in that dealer's room and you go in that artist alley, you want to buy so much things and you got a budget. But say you might not be able to get the things that's outside of your budget. We may have those things. So you get entered into those drawings and you have a chance to win those cool things. Now, the $15 tier, you are guaranteed the bi-monthly edition of Orange Phoenix Magazine. You are automatically entered into the giveaway drawing. Plus, you get early access to all of our videos before it gets aired on YouTube. You got it? All of our videos air before YouTube. Tendency to be 24 to 48 hours before, and also any private videos be sent straight to you guys. So we're talking both videos early access and videos that is never going to air on YouTube. You will have access to that as well as all of our past editions of Orange Phoenix Magazine. That is the $15 tier. So please continue to support us as we continue to grow. And without any further ado, let's get back to our regular scheduled program. And it had that same effect on me, because I was dangerously close of like opening up my Webtoon app and reading Solo Leveling. And I was like, nah, you ain't about to hose me out like this. So I'm about to read it, but I didn't. So new episode dropped, episode 2. Saw that today, dissected that. And listen, the funniest part was when old boy was like, listen, I got enough speed. I'm gonna get the fuck up out of here.
Wait. That was frame for frame from the webtoon as well. But what made it even better was in the anime.
Yeah.
Was when he got zapped and then his feet were like
Shit. Got your ass.
I
was like, they didn't have to do all of it.
Was this for comedic purposes? Because my mouth dropped open, and I was like, let me rewind this, because he deserved that death. He deserved that. He's like, I'm about to death. Like, looking at people get roasted in the last episode, right? Oh, I got enough speed.
They got vaporized. Like, their particles disintegrated.
Dude, I had it in my notes. This man ran to his death. That's what I had in my notes. That was the funniest part to me. But, okay, now, I know we're on episode 2. One little thing for episode 1 is that I noticed that Soong, considering his experience of, having near-death experiences, he knows when death is near. He knows when danger is coming. He almost got,
he has basically attuned his perception to dangerous situations, which is why he was able to make that call.
Yeah.
To everybody get down, because his spider sense went off, essentially.
Yeah, indeed. And with 2, he was the person that figured it out. Like, he was like, revered God, okay, here's what we need to do. We need to bow. And then that's when the statue was like, had that creepy ass smile. I was like,
for whatever reason, I thought that it's creepy as hell, but it was also really cool.
Yeah. It was. I was like, oh shit.
I'd get that as a tattoo.
The creepy smile? The creepy smile?
Yeah, because I'm weird like that. I get that.
Where would you put it though?
That's a great question. I don't know.
Because you got a sleeve right now, so.
Oh yeah, I started my other one too.
You know what? I'm trying to figure out where you would put it. I would say put it on your bicep.
This is going to be a Demon Slayer sleeve though.
Oh, okay. That's actually unique though, because no one would have that statue. Know what? That your thought process on that. I don't think anyone would actually have that particular statue with that smile. Like,
I'll probably do it. It would probably look cool on the back of my calf.
Yeah, that'll work. Like with a statue with that creepy smile, right? Park. I made sure I write his name down. Park got up and was like, oh, okay. Then, which he was right in getting up because they passed the first test. But then
they were like, it's over. We can leave now. I was like, what? What gave you the impression that your ordeal was anywhere near being over?
Nah.
That's not.
That's not how this works. And then you see the statue get up and walk. Now the first guy. No, well, actually the second guy. The second guy, the guy like, oh, let me get a crack at this because I study this and maybe this is what we need to do afterwards. So he gets on his knees, he started praying, and then Soong immediately was like, no.
Not that God. You're not that's the wrong one.
No, this one has a maniacal smile. This won't work. And so now,
the statue, he stopped. He stopped for like a second to look down at old boy and then stepped.
And then stepped on him. And they continued to step on people. And Park is like.
Wait. But before he did it, he smiled harder and then stepped on him.
Yeah.
They zoomed into his face and his grin got even bigger and then he stepped on him.
That is so crazy.
Like, dang.
That is so crazy. Like, at this point, people are freaking out even more. So the party numbers are decreasing by the minute.
Exponentially, yeah.
So, and now Soong is trying to figure this thing out. And Park having this revelation, looks, I got a family, I got a pregnant wife, I got a kid. So, mind you, as the viewer, you thinking, okay, this person here, they just might make it just by that little monologue that they had. Nah. He backs up against one of the other statues that was sitting on the wall and got split like straight in half,
Now,
right? And you
if it had been one with the instrument, he would have been fine.
He would have been Gucci. This man's body literally did this, and you saw it split.
And
Like,
in the reflection of the shield, and he was just like, whoop.
I was like, yo. So the cinematography on this, right? And you know, I know it's a bad way to say artistry, but it really paints the picture of like the horrific events that's going on, right? Because
and the despair that the group is going through. It really paints the picture of despair.
Exactly. And especially because for a quick second, you kind of got attached to Park just a little bit, because you've seen him and he talked about, you know, his family, but it painted that picture just for that few seconds so it can stomp that shit out. So for that shock and all part. So like
it's almost kind of like is it Akame la Kill, where you get attached to the characters? Like Tatsumi, you thought he was the main character,
yeah,
only for him to die like one episode from the end of the show, or all like that was a very traumatic anime for me to watch. Like everybody I like died. So
emotional, damn it.
So, you know, putting a pin in Soul Leveling for a second for Akame get killed. I've watched that at least twice, right? But I'm gonna tell you, the manga is better.
Okay.
Some of the outcomes are the same, but there's others that is completely opposite of what happened. I watched it for the first time. Yes, that is probably one of the most traumatic anime out there. And that is Game of Thrones for anime. That's exactly what that is. Don't get attached.
Agree.
Don't get attached.
Absolutely agree with that.
Yeah. So, like, your comparison with that and what happened with Park on Soul Leveling, that's kind of spot on at that point, especially with like my first time watching it. But like, what was your thoughts on Sung and figuring out the instruments? Because I would have never figured that out.
I mean, now mind you, he figured it out while he was running for his life with his love interest, while she was basically catatonic and screaming at the same time.
Yeah.
Because he literally was like, his thought process was like, what is there? What am I missing? Where's an area of safety? And that's when he started to he was observing each of the statues and realizing, oh, there are some that don't have weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that, and then that's when he put 2 and 2 together, the praise God and then the instruments.
Yeah.
And when he told everybody to get to the statues with the instruments, and then they started playing. So I don't know that I would have figured that out in that situation either.
No, especially when I'm running for my life, and this statue is gaining on you and gaining.
And I think that also the reason why he was able to figure it out so quickly was because of all of his near-death experiences prior.
Yeah. You know what's funny though? It's like, I literally just thought about this. It was only one statue that was following him around, right? Why didn't they just split up? Like, why didn't they just, like, you know, they did split up once.
I mean, they did, but that statue could cover so much ground. It was so big in comparison to the smaller statues. It towered above the smaller statues, and the smaller statues were big as hell compared to the humans. So, I mean, there was when he was trying to get to the last statue, like he was running for his absolute life, and that in the big statue put 1 foot down and was about to crush him.
Yeah, yeah.
When he was running at top speed. So yeah, I mean, I agree. They all scattered. They were running away from the statue, all kind of, they were still close together, but when he finally figured it out, like, you need to get to these statues that have instruments, that's when they started to scatter. And they're lucky that the statues with weapons weren't also chasing them.
Yeah, because that'd have been a wrap. I felt like, no, well, this is completely unfair.
Yeah.
at this point. But thing is, like, Bassoon is that he figured it out and he made it at the cost of his leg. But,
I was about to say 85% of him made it.
Yeah, 85% of him made it. I was like, okay, but it made it so bad. It happened so fast. Soon didn't even felt the pain. He was like, all right, I made it, and Junhei was like, "Party, you made it." Like, let me. Like,
he was in shock. I mean, that's probably all that adrenaline.
Yeah.
And luckily she was there too, because even though she was already at her limit with healing, she still probably saved his life by stopping it enough that he was able to last as long as he did.
Like, looking at okay, now I know that the magical abilities are not limitless. Just seeing what she was doing as a B rank healer, I think, obviously the healing abilities should have been a lot more potent than that, but seeing that she was at her limit, that she was sort of kind of bleeding out her eyes and like bleeding out her orifices, I was like, okay, there's a limitation here.
Yeah, but yes. But also we didn't see, well, we know that she healed him at least 2 times before that.
Yeah.
One when the goblin almost took him out, and then I guess he got in another skirmish because then she was like healing his knee up. And then she was the healer of the entire group. So I'm sure that she was also healing other people as they got, cuts and bruises and whatever. Yeah. But seeing her hit that limit definitely put it into perspective as far as like, okay, so all of the hunters, their abilities, there is definitely a limit to them.
No one ever thought about, maybe we need 3 healers at max if you're gonna have a large party like that.
No,
like, nobody...
I think they said, and I think part of the reason why was because if in the beginning, if you remember the first episode, when Sung originally arrived and everybody was greeting him, and Park was like, well, who's this guy? Was he like a big shot or something? And they were like, no, he's the weakest hunter of mankind. And basically Kim was like, basically, when they call him in, that the dungeon is going to be a breeze.
Okay.
So there wouldn't necessarily, and it was an E-rank dungeon, so there wouldn't be a necessity for them to call in more than one healer. I mean, she was B rank, so she was levels above. So they probably were like, we're just gonna call her and she'll be good because this is an E-rank dungeon, and they're pretty easy. So
yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And so shortly after that, the party turned on each other. Like, they turned on the leader. It was like, well, sorry about your arm, fam, but this your fault. We ain't here.
Man, you a bitch. You a bitch.
Like, bitch, what? Like, didn't we all
we voted? This was a democratic process.
Right. So now people dying, you were just gonna. So I was a little conflicted with that statement that that the party member said. He said, when he said it, the raid leader was like, you know what? Despite how people feel about this on the surface, I'm still the leader. I can still decide whether we're gonna do it or not. I can literally turn around and say, well, forget your votes. We're not doing this. So I get that level of responsibility that he had, because throughout this whole process, from episode 1 to episode 2, he's been taking responsibility. Like, he's been a true leader for sure. And so when the altar came up, without any hesitation, he was like, it's me. I'm gonna go sacrifice myself. Y'all get out of here. Like his resolve like was unmoving. And
shoot, Kim was already, he was like, sword out, you gonna go up there?
yeah. What like, you gonna do, dog?
Literally, like, he, no hesitation, he pulled that out and it was pointed at him, was like, you about to go up there?
I was like, he's like, man, listen, ain't no need for the sword, dog. There's no need for the sword. All right,
like, I was gonna handle it.
Right.
Calm down.
Calm down. Calm your nerves. So, like, shortly after that, like, Sung was like, okay, the flame came up. All right, everybody go to this altar because y'all want to listen to me for one. That's just me looking at the TV, and I was like, y'all want to listen to him regardless because he has led you to amongst the living from the point he discovered what the rule was. So,
yep.
So everybody's in the circle. Was it Kim the one who took off first?
No, it was the girl.
It was the girl. The girl took off first. That just like, okay, you're Estra. You are an Estra for sure. It's like, there's no way. She takes off and run and leaves the whole party. Like, you didn't learn from the first two people that ran off from the party?
You know what would have been... Okay, so when I was reading the webtoon and she did that,
yeah,
I was thinking that them running out. Okay, so Sung acknowledged that the last test was basically like a trap. But when in my mind, I was like, well, if it's a trap, if they're running, are they actually getting out, or are they running into darkness? Are they going to be running into, because remember, they're in a portal world. Like, the doors could open to tempt them to run out and actually link somewhere completely different, and they're essentially running to their doom. They're not getting out.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I thought that's what was happening.
That was my thought process because I'm gonna listen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna listen to the guy that kept me alive this long. I'm not leaving. Like, I'm all right. You figure this out. I'll wait. I'll sit here and look at these statues, make sure they don't move. Cool. Until you figure it out. So she takes off running, and then some other party members take off running. Pretty much, Sung telling the raid leader, "Listen, take Junhei, and I'm gonna take this I'm gonna take this L right here." And the leader understood it. Junhei was like, "I'm not leaving you." Like, look, okay, I know I owe you dinner. Here's some money, here's this crystal. It's on me. Yo, I gotta do this if y'all gonna stay alive. Which I don't think I would have made that decision because I don't know, like you said, I don't know what that doorway leads to. So I could have easily just said, go to your death. But go ahead.
At that point, so the girl left, and then the guy that was holding up Sung pieced out. And then Kim did his little cowardly, I have family, I gotta go. And then he left. So it's just them three. And the reason why, like, Sung had already figured it out, and he was like, none of you do not leave, because if you leave, it's going to create blind spots, and they're going to get to us before the timer runs out, and they're going to kill all of us. But the three that left didn't care. They were too busy about worried about saving their own skins. And so when it got to the point that it was just Sung, Chiul, and old girl, he was like, they would not have survived had they stayed, because old girl was too afraid to keep her eyes open.
Yeah.
Like, she was brave because it had been established that she's not good in high pressure situations.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't have been able, I don't think that she would have been able to make it through that. It was basically the most deadliest game of red light, green light. And I I can't remember how many statues were around, but I'm pretty sure there was at least 10. And between 3 people, and like you had to actually look at the statue for it to stop. And it didn't seem like they could look at multiple statues at once and make them stop.
Yeah.
So him making that decision, especially after her legs gave out on her because she used up too much mana, telling them to go. I mean, Chio couldn't carry both of them out. And if Chio tried to carry, if they all tried to escape at the same time, it wouldn't have happened because Sung was missing a leg. He would have slowed them down.
Yeah.
So it was a really hard decision for him to make on his part, but it was a really brave decision.
Yeah. So I think with what happened, the way that episode ended, because you still, again, it ended with a cliffhanger.
Yep.
But to rewind, it's what you said. I would say about 20 minutes ago, is that these dungeon raids are necessary. Like they have to go in there, and the head of the Hunters Association had this orientation with the newest members saying, hey, listen, these dungeons aren't no joke. No matter how powerful you are, don't take these magical beasts lightly. Do not take these missions lightly. Do not get too comfortable. And if anything, be afraid. Like, that's the best way I can say. Now, to go further back, Shahe Hin is the famed S rank person, and apparently she's like this super badass, but you only saw a glimpse of her, and that's how I know she's a badass, because you only saw a little glimpse of her. She just took care of a purse snatcher and everybody flocking to her, and she just kind of like got away and like, I don't really want to be in crowds like that. But that's the only time that you saw her from episode 1. But the way episode 2 ended, it ended in the cliffhanger. Still no next episode. Is kind of like, got my ass tempted again to read that webtoon.
Yep.
I might.
And I can say that, so like Choi, Shahin, the leader of the Hunter Association, you're not introduced to those people in like I'm probably at like chapter 20 and they haven't been introduced yet. So I really appreciated that when they're doing the anime, they are providing that additional introductions to people who are going to be integral to the story later on. So now as I'm reading, I know, okay, I already have now established a familiarity with who these people are and why they will be important in the future. So I did really appreciate that. And I believe that episode wise for the webtoon, episode 2 translates to, I think, the end of episode 10 or chapter 10, chapter 11 of the webtoon.
Okay.
If anybody's interested in reading ahead.
Yeah, if you want to read ahead, the webtoon is definitely available for you guys. So, and we will be covering episode 3 when it drops, and episode 2 drops this week. So go ahead and check out episode 2. I know you already checked it out already, but go ahead and analyze it and see if you see any things that we missed on that. And we will be covering episode 3 next week. So, got anything else for the listeners out there, Vievo?
No. Well, the only other thing that I wanted to point out that was interesting to me while watching the anime is how, if you pay attention, how they have started incorporating mana stones throughout their society. So when you there's a shot where Sung's sister is visiting their mother, and you can see like the machine that's basically keeping her alive is being powered by a mana stone. So I think that it's really interesting to see how this phenomenon has now resulted in society now starting to rely on the various resources that, you know, hunters are able to gain from going into these portals.
You know what? I missed that. I completely missed that. That it's powered by monostones. I did not know that. That's crazy. So that's why you're here, because you know stuff that I'm missing. So typically one thing we gonna do is give you a new anime recommendation outside of the ones that we're covering, and this anime recommendation is also on Hulu, and there is a chance that we will be covering that once we finish Solo Leveling and Ishura, and that is Synduality Noir. Go check that out. I think it's at least 13, 14 episodes in right now on Hulu, so go ahead and check that out. So until next time, y'all, peace.
See ya.